Hello everyone, thanks for choosing this video to watch today. We want to talk about the controversial issue. The problem of slavery, also practically obsolete and no longer exists in the world. But from an Islamic point of view, this is a current issue. The causes of slavery include the following. The first, a person who has committed a crime was enslaved to compensate for his wrongdoing. For example, imagine that someone blinded another person and instead used him as a slave to compensate for his wrongdoing. The second, when someone owes a lot of money, if he can't pay his debt, he becomes slave for a creditor. The third, say due to the economic situation. For example, a person sells his child as a slave to earn money. The first method is the method of master and servant. The one group attacked another group and took them as a slaver. For example, when white Europeans discovered America, they enslaved black Americans. Have you heard of Uncle Tom's Cottage? The story is about the ugly phenomenon of slavery in America. If you haven't heard this story, I suggest you read it. The fifth form of slavery is war. In battle, the victorious army captured the remnant of the enemy army and used them as slaves. Then they proudly said that we have the right to kill a prisoner of war, but we do him a favor and enslave him. And they abused that slave very much. But what is the cause of slavery? In ancient times, Aristotle in his philosophy considered slavery as a natural thing. He said that basically in natural and creation of people, two types have been created, some for ruling and others for slavery and serving the ruled. But this theory is wrong. In the world, slaves are already persecuted, unaware that they are human and have the right to choose. Slaves never have the right to choose, and their will has been suppressed. They have no right to desire and enjoy God's blessing and enjoy life. They have to do the hardest thing because they are slaves. If they inadvertently make a mistake, they are tortured, and sometimes some of them die under the torture. We always talk about the goodness of Islam. It's interesting to know that in Islam there is also the issue of slavery. But does a religion that respects human rights believe in a system of slavery? The Bible of Muslims is Quran. The Quran states that the purpose of man's slavery is his freedom. But how? Freedom and slavery are completely different. We should know that in the teaching of Islam, the behavior of the master with his slave is so different. The Quran says that human beings, especially men and women, have no superiority over each other. Their only superiority is their humanity and goodness. When a prisoner of war was taken to the Prophet of Islam, the Prophet had the utmost respect for him. It is stated in the Quran that if you take a prisoner on the battlefield, either release him bravely or ask him for something in exchange for freedom. For example, the Battle of Badr during the time of the Prophet Muhammad was one of the great victories of Islam against the infidels. The Prophet told each of the captives that if each of you taught 10 Muslims to read and write, he would be released and wouldn't pay any more. The Prophet Muhammad instructed the Muslims to treat the captives well, to give them the same food they ate, to cover them with the same clothes they wore, and not to leave them hungry. If the captives can be trained, train them and teach them the teaching of Islam, and then release them so that they will no longer be slaves, and don't torture or harass them. The children and grandchildren of the Prophet Muhammad, whom we call the Imam, each bought a large number of slaves in their time and set them free to destroy the system of slavery. We see that Islam is a religion of kindness and empathy, and it defends the oppressor against the oppressor everywhere. Islam respects human beings because it gives each of them the right to choose right path. Unfortunately, there is a system of slavery in some countries today. Of course, its methods may be different from the old. We still see children working hard while having to play and have fun. They have been taken away. Today, we see many people who work for the benefit of others with very low income and even free, and in very bad conditions, and have no escape route. The worst thing is sexual slavery. You may see a woman being forced into prostitution. Sometimes she is forced to sell herself to lustful men without choice and sometimes become Lolita dolls. Why they don't have freedom? Freedom is very important in Islam, but not in the sense that if anyone expresses his opinion, he will be punished. Western countries talk about freedom of expression, but don't allow you to express your thoughts and ideas easily. Like Macron, who insulted the kind prophet of Islam and called it freedom of speech, but doesn't allow others to comment on the Holocaust. Is this freedom of expression? But Islam attaches great importance to freedom of thought. Freedom as long as it doesn't harm others. If you want to know more about the beauties of Islam, subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.